Great. Thanks, everybody. Well, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me at this session today. I'm delighted to be part of this conference, and I thank you for the invitation to present. My name is Rachel. I am the Director of School Services here at KLRN PBS San Antonio. We actually cover about 33 counties in our viewing area, so you can reach out to us. We have free resources, educational resources for our entire viewing area, and just great resources in general. So hope you enjoy. We're going to be talking about all different kinds of resources for teaching STEM and STEAM to young girls. And everything that you'll see today is available free of charge and online at pbslearningmedia.org. So I want to thank you once again for inviting me to join you today. And if you would be so kind as to put your first and last name in the chat, I will be asking you to fill out a survey toward the end of this session, if you don't mind. And also, if you could include your email, I would like to a copy of this session today. So the slide presentation will have all the links available. I want to thank our sponsors at FirstMart for making this available to us to be able to present these sessions free of charge. And want to thank you, amazing educators. We've got great sponsors as well through Watt Watchers and CPS Energy of Texas. And we just can't thank you enough. Thank you for inviting us today. Thank you to the Texas Girls Collaborative Project. And we appreciate you. Let's go ahead and get started. So here's some great quotes that I thought it would be great to start with today. These are quotes from women in STEM, past and present. And I really like this one from Bessie Coleman. So that's why hers is at the very top. Tell them that as soon as I can walk, I'm going to fly. And Bessie Coleman, the first African-American and first Native American woman pilot. That brain of mine is something more than merely mortal, as time will show. From Ada Lovelace, the world's first computer programmer. Women of every nation, every country should learn medicine so that they can teach women of their countries and their races how to care for themselves and their children and how to improve the coming generation. This is from Margaret Chung, the first Chinese American woman to become a physician. Hope and curiosity about the future seems better than guarantees. That's the way I was. The unknown was always so attractive to me and still is. That was from Hedy Lamarr, an Austrian-American actress and inventor who pioneered the technology that provided the foundation for modern-day Wi-Fi, GPS, and Bluetooth communication systems. I determined to make something useful of my life, incredibly selfless and devoted. From Susan LaFlèche-Picotte, the first Native American physician and the first to found a private hospital on a reservation. These quotes inspired me. I hope that they will inspire you too. Friends, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so glad that y'all are here. If you haven't had a chance to yet, if you could please put your first and last name and your email in the chat, I'll be glad to send you a copy of this presentation. All of the links are bookmarked right in it. And I also want you to know you can reach out to me anytime with any questions. And I will put my email is also in this presentation box. Excellent, thank you. So welcome and thank you so much for being here. If you could please make sure your Zoom login shows your name as you would like for it to be spelled on your certificate. I'd like to get you a certificate with professional development credit out to you. So if you would like that, please do go ahead and make sure that your first and last name are spelled as you would like for them to be spelled on your certificate. If you could type your email into the chat so we can follow up with you and send you a PDF copy of the slide deck. We can also, if you would like, keep you up to date with all of the events and future professional development sessions that we offer online regularly. We offer at a minimum 2 a month, typically more though. There's typically like closer to 3 to 4 of them a month. And they're virtual, free of charge, and offer professional development credit. I would love for you to share your thoughts, ideas, and comments with me in the chat. Even though y'all are on mute, I know it does mention here that you'll be on mute, but we are a smaller group. So if you are comfortable doing so, a reminder that the session is being recorded. But if you would like to ask questions just out loud, that's certainly fine as well. And please, you are not interrupting me. I want to hear what you have to say. You're also welcome to do so in the chat. totally up to you. Thank you for being considerate of each other, and I'm so glad that you're here with me. So let's get started. So it's great to meet you. I'm Rachel Salinas. I am the KLRN Director of School Services. I've worked in education since 2002, and I'm really glad to be part of the PBS team. So I've been here since late 2019. I actually just celebrated 3 years at KLRN. I'm super excited to be there. And here's where you can reach me. This is my first initial of my first name and my last name, SALINAS@KLRN.org. I'd love to know more about you too. So if you want to share a little bit about yourself in the chat, I'd love to hear from you. Thanks, friends. So in today's session, we're going to explore some engaging state standards aligned teaching resources that can be used at school and at home from KLRN PBS. In this session, we're going to explore STEM resources from PBS Learning Media for pre-K all the way through 12th grade. Now, as we're exploring PBS Learning Media, you're going to see some resources that have an indicator that says 13+. And actually what that means is it could be used for a couple of reasons. It could be used for professional development, or it can be used with college-age students. Now, you can certainly use resources for younger grades with older grades, but they are identified as such to be used with certain grades because of the TEKS that they align with. For my friends that are joining us from outside of Texas, TEKS are the state standards, so the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills. We'll talk a little bit more about how you can log into PBS Learning Media, learn more about how to save resources, set up an account. Everything is totally free and it will not sell you anything. I want to thank the Texas Girls Collaborative Project for inviting me to be here today. I want to thank our sponsors at FirstMart for making this training possible. And I want to thank you again, awesome educators, for the wonderful work that you do. We really appreciate you. And I see I have a friend in the waiting room. Let them in really quickly. Awesome. So PBS Learning Media is the bulk of where these resources come from. This is essentially an online library, if you will, of digital resources, which include videos, interactive lessons, complete lesson plans, and other media-based resources, along with support materials that can help to encourage students to think more, to think outside the box. So things like discussion questions, ideas for essays, things of the like. You'll find a lot of fantastic resources here. There are over 30,000 different resources on PBS Learning Media, and every single one of them is free. There's a video here. In the interest of time, I'll go ahead and skip it, but I do want to let you know kind of where to find everything. So here's the video to show you how you can set up an account and create class rosters. You can just click on that right here, and this resource lives right here on PBS Learning Media. So it's an evergreen resource that you can access anytime. As you can see, it's just right under 4.5 minutes, so quick and easy to use. I'm just going to show you how to set up an account. So I'm logged in online, and really the only difference that you'll see is if you have a PBS Learning Media account, thank you, nicely done. If you don't, I encourage you to set one up. Really the only differences you'll see are that this gray line here, this is for me since I'm an employee of PBS and I can include and upload content onto PBS Learning Media. So that is not on all of the pages, right? And then right here where it says Rachel, it'll just say sign in or sign up. So if you want to sign up, it's just really simple. I encourage going through email because it's sometimes, I speak from experience, sometimes I forget my password and accidentally log myself out and just have to set up a new one. It's very easy to reset that on email. So it's going to ask you for your first name, last name, email, mark that you are a teacher, and the zip code of the school where you teach. Now, if you don't have that information, it's certainly fine for you to use your home zip code as well. And then that's it. There are several benefits to having an account on PBS Learning Media. And again, totally free. It's not going to cost anything, and you're not going to be sold anything. You can access the materials and see the state standards. That's another reason why they're asking for your zip code so that it can align to the state where you teach. So for example, if you're using national standards in the state where you teach, it will show the national standards, Common Core, if you will. If you're here in Texas, it'll show the TEKS. so on and so forth. Again, it's really helpful. It's a great resource, and you'll see this button as an option here too, which is to favorite it. So you can favorite it, you can save it in a folder. All of that being said, you can still access PBS Learning Media and have access to all of this great content. However, you will not be able to see the state standards, nor will you be able to favorite items and put them in a folder. So that's, I think the main kind of reason why the account is so very helpful. There are more video tutorials here, which also include things like finding resources available in Spanish, which is very helpful. How to assign and share content with students who have a student learning platform, which is something you can absolutely use as well. Alrighty, friends. So the first one I want to talk with you about is called Watchers of Texas. So I'm going to ask in the chat if anybody has heard of this. This is a program that was started in 1985. So of course it wasn't available online back then because, as you know, that's a more recent invention, right? That's a more recent change. In 2018, the entire program was revamped, made available in English and Spanish, aligned to the TEKS, and of course, put online. So this is a wonderful resource here. It's a state-sponsored STEM program. Let's take a look at where we can find the entire site, and then of course where we can find it on PBS Learning Media. So our friends at Dispo Learning Media and CBS Energy have helped us to be able to bring this to the community a little bit more. And again, everything here is entirely free. So you'll see here a little bit about the program. You'll see our characters, Lil, TEKS, and Ann. Now, friends, I have to let you know I am a Californian by birth, and I heard Lil, TEKS, and Ann, and when I said it out loud, oh, Lil Texan. So basically, those are the characters that are geared toward the younger learners. There are activities here that are available for kinder through 12th grade, and it's really outstanding. Here's another aspect of the program that was developed right at the beginning of the pandemic, showing Watchers at school and Watchers at home. The bulk of these activities can be done either or, at school or at home. But there's more of a focus for the activities that are recommended for school. There's more of a focus on collaboration with a number of classmates, whereas the ones at home are activities that could be done independently, or that could, for example, where the student goes through their house and sees, okay, is my washing machine set to cold to wash the clothes to save energy? Where is the thermostat set? Things like that. Overall, there are some amazing STEM resources here and also very helpful tips for saving money and taking care of the environment. So as we're taking care of the environment, as we're taking care of making sure we're not being wasteful, there's a lot of encouragement to do simple tasks that we're probably already doing, right? Like turning off a light when we leave the room, making sure that if there's a leaky faucet, we address that, making sure that we're not setting the AC too cold when we're not in the house, things like that. So we're just kind of making actionable steps toward saving money and not wasting, right? So with that in mind, the tagline here is Texas is too good to waste. Here's a little bit about the program. I do want to let you know, part of the program includes the Student Patrol program. And this is great. This is a very easy to follow program that could be used as an after school club or during lunch. It's a way to get the students involved in making sure that we're all taking care of our planet, right? Not being wasteful. So for example, even though it sounds very simple to go into different, to go down the hallways and say, okay, if nobody is in the classroom, the teacher's not in the classroom, the students aren't in the classroom, was the light left on? Yes, okay, we leave a little reminder that says, oh, please don't waste energy. Or if we see that the lights and the computer and the whatever else might be available, right? The TV, if there is one in the classroom, if those are left on, but no one's in there, there's a reminder. Please remember to turn off the lights and to turn off your devices. If you pass by a classroom, no one's in there and the lights are off and everything else has been shut down and it's all set, there's a thank you card. So it really kind of works in both areas, right? We want to make sure that we are, that we're taking care of our planet by taking small, easy, actionable steps that when enough of us do them, it really makes a big difference. Now, here is where I want to point your attention. This is where we can find activities. Hi, friends, and I really do apologize if you have been waiting in the waiting room for a long time. I apologize. Thank you for being here. Our session is being recorded, so you will have access to it. If you would be so kind, if you haven't had a chance to do so yet, if you could put your first name, last name, and your email in the chat, that will help us to be able to send you a copy of the PDF of the slides, which will have all of the active links ready to go and bookmark for you. So right now we're talking about Watchers of Texas and the different activities that are available here. As you can see the entire website in English or in Spanish. The icons are a little tiny, but they're right up here, same place all the time, in the upper right-hand corner. So it's easy to see there. There are different themes, and there's 6 modern energy topics, including cooling and heating, electricity, food, materials, transportation, and water. And with these different activities, we see the connection between energy and water, also called the water energy nexus. A lot of these activities don't require a great big number of materials. Oh, thank you so much. A lot of these are also very fun, and all of them are fun and engaging, and they're available for K all the way through 12th grade. So I want to show you a fun one here. This is called At Home Master Chef. This is a lot of fun. This is also something that if you have the ability to do so at school, this is certainly something you could try there, or you can encourage your children to try it at home with their families. What this is encouraging us to do in a nutshell is to utilize the food that we already have that might be replaced by the next time we go to the grocery store, or that is about to go bad, hasn't gone bad, but is about to go bad, right? Maybe it's been in the fridge for a little while. And so one example that I use is we love sweet potatoes, but we're a small family. And so sometimes we don't finish all of them. And then, we like lentils. And so it's like, okay, this is interesting. We can mix this with this. And we actually put together sweet potatoes, spinach, and lentils with some curry, and it was delicious. And so we came up with a new recipe. Now, as we do this, it's always possible that we're going to come up with something that wasn't necessarily the best creation, but then we know it's like, okay, those spices didn't go well together. We'll try something else next time. But on the whole, it really does a great job of encouraging us to be thoughtful about what we're using, and helps us to avoid wasting things. And the peaks are right down here at the bottom. So this is just one of about 128, I believe, different activities that you can choose from. And again, they're all very easy to use. This one is geared for our younger learners, kindergarten through 5th grade, talking about controlling water with building blocks such as Legos, and how we can show this with common classroom items. All right, friends, any questions so far? Please feel free to reach out to me in the chat. Here is where we can see this on PBS Learning Media. So this collection is available on PBS Learning Media as well. One thing that I want to point your attention to on PBS Learning Media is how you can find these little icons up here that say also NES. That means that the resource, while it is available for all of these, it's also available for many, many others as well. It means that the resource is available in both English and Spanish. Friends, if you have any questions, please feel free to either unmute yourself or ask me directly in the chat. Either way is absolutely fine. And I'm so glad that y'all are here. Thank you for joining me. Okay, so we're going to start with some of our PBS Learning Media resources. You may recognize some of our friends here, including Molly of Denali, Eleanor Wonders Why, Xavier Riddle in the Secret Museum, Curious George STEM, I think he's got to be my favorite, and Scratch Jr. So let's take a look at these. Again, we really feel through PBS like learning begins right away. There's so many opportunities to learn. So Early learning is very important, but of course, as we continue to grow and learn and be in older grades, learning is equally important, right? There's opportunities for learning about STEM and STEAM at such an early age. So let's explore these resources. I do want to honor your time. I think we have until 1:45, so I will try to be a little less verbose. I just get excited talking about this. So Molly and Elizabeth, here's a great resource that's actually going to teach students about Elizabeth Petrovich, an activist who helped pass the first Anti-Discrimination Act. Will history inspire Molly and Tui to change the way tourists think about Alaska Native Americans? You have a lot of information here. This is a 25-minute video, so in the interest of time, we're going to skip that, but in order to play it, you just click the link right here. Super easy to use. There are support materials, and this is what's in addition to the videos that we see, right? So this comes from the collection, Molly of Denali. You can see lots and lots of resources here, including 13 complete lesson plans. Everything's there, but this is the one that we highlighted, Molly and Elizabeth. We see support materials for teachers, as well as support materials for use with students. So if you're a teacher and you're looking at how you could incorporate this in your classroom and for your students, here's some teaching tips. So we'll see that there's learning goals, informational text, different types of informational text, using and creating informational texts at home, Alaska Native culture, Alaska Native values, and celebrating cultures with Molly of Denali. Really outstanding resources here that also include a component of learning about social emotional learning. We're learning a little bit more about the character. If you're not yet familiar with her, I highly recommend this show. Also, vocabulary words that we can use to familiarize our students with, and also questions that we can consider asking our students as we're viewing the video, after viewing the video, having a discussion about that as well. Really good and important topics to discuss with our kiddos. Informational text for young learners, excuse me, I'm sorry. This is the Californian in me, I just talk really quickly. Alaska Native values. This is excellent, friends. I think this is just something that could be printed and put in a classroom. It's awesome. So there's a lot of good information here. 15 learning goals. We also have here some types of informational text. These are things that we can share with our students and also have for our own reference as educators. Any questions, friends? Please feel free to either unmute yourself or to ask directly in the chat, whichever works best for you. And if you haven't had a chance to do so yet, if you could please include your email in the chat, I'd be glad to send you a PDF copy of the presentation so that you can refer to it and have everything bookmarked. And friends, I should let you know as well that we at KLRN love to share. So please, with our blessing, please feel free to share the slide deck with colleagues, with friends, and please also know that we have a variety of teacher training sessions that we offer throughout the month, every month. You can also reach out to us directly for any assistance you might need, and we're more than glad to talk about it. As you can probably tell, I'm very excited to talk about all these great programs. So Scratch Junior, this is fantastic. You may be familiar with this already. This collection offers a variety of lesson plans and resources for educators to introduce children ages 5 to 8 to creative coding by challenging them to create their own stories, games, and animation with the PBS Kids Scratch Junior tablet app. There are also resources for teaching coding, lesson plans, and supplemental resources. I mean, it just goes on and on. You can access all of this. This is entirely free. Everything through PBS Learning Media and What Watchers of Texas, completely free. We are glad to be able to share this with you. Eleanor wonders why. This is not only adorable, but really, really innovative, and it helps our children to feel confident to ask questions. and to wonder, why does this work this way? How does this work? How can I recreate this, right? There's a great episode where Eleanor, she's the little bunny, she notices that one of her friends has the Velcro type shoe closings. And then when she and her friends are in the forest, she also notices that a bird gets stuck to one of their socks, and how that's a similar type of material and type of adhesion, right, to something soft. And so she makes that connection there. And let's see how this works. It's really awesome. These lesson plans and resources are available almost entirely in both English and Spanish, which is amazing. And it covers the topics of being curious, the 5 senses, finding animals, comparing plants, and caring for the environment. There's so much to choose from. And I am remiss in not mentioning this earlier for PBS Learning Media resources, but just like the Watt Watchers resources, PBS Learning Media resources are also aligned to state standards. Now, on PBS Learning Media, you'll really only be able to view this if you set up an account, but the account and maintaining the account, everything is totally free. So there's no cost associated with that whatsoever. I do want to mention that because that's important. I also taught in the classroom for a number of years, and I think that's just an important note to know. Here's where you can check out the resource in either English or Spanish. And then right down here, there's a little bit of information about the resource. And right here, friends, here are the TEKS, or the state standards. Now I'm logged in here in Texas, and I have some friends joining me today from outside of Texas. Thank you. If you log in with your zip code, it will kind of direct you toward your local PBS station, but everything that's on PBS Learning Media is accessible to everyone. So everything that's here is nationwide. We can get resources from Michigan or New York or California or New Mexico. Everything that's on PBS Learning Media is accessible to everyone. So I want to bring that up. Just when you're looking for the state standards, that's where the account comes in handy, because without setting up an account, you are not able to save the resources or see the state standards. And I really like the state standard feature, because when we're writing lesson plans, we need to include that. There's no need to have to reinvent the wheel, right? So I think that's pretty awesome. Xavier Riddle and the Secret Museum. Here we've got some more resources for some of our younger learners. This is K through 2nd grade, learning about Amelia Earhart. And so again, we have the opportunity here to watch this in either English or Spanish. And then we've got all of these great resources here. We're talking about a Venn diagram that we can use, 50 for students, sentence starters, and hero for a day. If I were a hero for a day, I would be, you can fill in the blank with whomever you would like. And what would you spend the day doing? So pretty neat, right? And again, if you wanted these resources to be available in Spanish, you would just click over here to Spanish. And the resources will be exactly the same thing, but available in Spanish. So if you have any questions, please do feel free to let me know. I'm so sorry, excuse me. Curious George STEM. Now this is a pretty incredible resource as well. I know I'm saying that a lot, but everything that is on PBS Learning Media is a really high quality resource. Excuse me, another way I would encourage you to use PBS Learning Media, and I say this as a parent of a 14-year-old, when we're working on research papers or essays, and we want to have information to include in there, and to have information that includes bibliography, we know that this information is vetted and accurate. Go to PBS Learning Media. It is more structured for educational resources, and in order for a resource to make its way onto PBS Learning Media, it has to go through a fairly rigorous process of steps, which is important and good to make sure that everything that we say is aligned to a certain state standard, for example, or video is teaching about this particular topic and this particular person's information has to be accurate in order to be on here. So That's one of the things that both as an educator and as a parent, I very much appreciate. So here we can see the videos, and when we see this little icon that looks like a folded piece of paper that says SM, that means there's a support material, at least one that goes with it. You'll also see right here at the bottom that it is for this particular age group. Any questions so far, friends? Okay. Please don't hesitate to reach out with any questions. I'm so glad y'all are here. Alrighty, friends. So now we're going to take a look at Kid Vision full steam ahead. This is pretty fun. Here we can see a STEAM activity that includes 2 step-by-step video tutorials of 3 minutes and 1 minute versions, which also I feel like as educators, we can all agree, it's important to be cognizant of how long the video that we're using in our classroom is, right? I'm so sorry. So this is showing us about the video tutorials and how children can utilize these activities. So it kind of gives us a how-to process here. Alrighty. So we're going to move on to our older elementary, upper elementary, K through 5 now, where we can see resources for learners between the ages of as young as kindergarten all the way through, well, side girls was 3rd to 12th grade. So let's take a look at Cyber Chase first. Any Cyber Chase fans in the house? I'm a big fan of Cyber Chase. Okay. And this is pretty great because there's so much information here. My child is currently learning about algebra. I think how great is it that we can use familiar resources from when they were younger to teach about algebra, right? So let's take a look at that one in particular. So we see that many of these videos are not long, they're short clips. So very appropriate and easy to use in a classroom setting. I'm dating myself here, but when I was teaching a single subject in the classroom, we had to be very cognizant about how long the video clips we were using were. Anything over about 3 minutes was like, well, why are we using that in the classroom? Is this really educationally necessary? So that's, I think, one thing that the team, one of many things that the team at PBS Learning Media has taken into consideration when they're uploading these particular resources. So you'll see here a way to explain algebra through a balance, through a scale. And here are state standards. So I highly recommend setting up an account. Again, it's super easy to do. There is a short video that is linked in the beginning of the presentation, and if you'd be so kind as to include your email in the chat feature, I'm glad to send you a copy of the slide deck. Oh, that is a great question. You know, thank you for mentioning that. And I have to admit, I don't know. But I love that you asked that. Let me see. I think that's a fantastic idea, though. Thank you. And thank you for being willing to utilize these resources as well. I hope they're helpful. Here are here is SciGirls. And SciGirls is fantastic. This is a huge collection of resources that are suitable for grades 3 all the way through 12. So we see here there are 240 different videos, and that's pretty amazing. There are 276 different resources in Spanish. It's awesome. A lot of what we see here are role model profiles, and this is essentially a series of videos that where scientists, people who have careers in STEM, are being interviewed, talking about their experiences. These videos are available in both English and Spanish, and we get to ask questions and learn more, right? And then there are support materials that go along with that as well. So I highly recommend this as well. Friends, I'm saying that so often. I highly recommend every resource here, and that's why it made it onto the slide deck at all, right? There's also Plum Landing. This was on air for a kind of short amount of time, but it's just winsome and catchy, and it also really invites kids to think outside the box. So similarly to Eleanor Wonders Why, encourages children to ask questions. Why does this work this way? How could I recreate this? What's something new that I could do to improve this? So we have a great variety of resources here, including complete lesson plans. And I want to show you an example of a complete lesson plan here. With the complete lesson plans, I like this because it's going to show, okay, how much time will you need? Some of the lessons will say, oh, you'll need, 1 hour long class period, right? Another might say you'll need several days to work on this. So it really kind of helps us in our planning. Here's what the learning objectives are, what preparation you might need to take care of ahead of time, and what supplies you'll need. Here's what the procedure looks like. So you see that here as well. And then, of course, our state standards. Which being here in Texas, it's the TEKS, but if you're logged in from Tennessee, for example, and you'd like to see the state standards, those will show up as well as soon as you set up an account. So here is a game that the children can play. Again, here are the standards that are aligned with that. It's quite comprehensive, and it's just in a day, right? So here's another interactive game that the children can play. It's really it's user-friendly, it's engaging, and also it includes media in the classroom in a meaningful way. So I think that's another thing to note as well. Girl Power, this is just awesome. I had the great pleasure of being able to meet the developers of this program, and I'm so sorry. We have so many different resources, and I want to share everything with you. We will not have time to watch the video. However, I encourage you to check it out with your children. It's awesome. Talks about basically in this series, there are several girls that are interviewed, and they describe, this is my superpower. So Hiba is 11 years old, and is being her girl power is bravery. She used to be afraid of snakes, but with a little bit of inquiry and trust, she overcame her fear and now loves all things reptile. She's a great student as she studies the language Arabic with a teacher. She also proclaims herself brave daily, as she proudly wears her headscarf as part of her religion. She is not afraid to be who she is, which is just an amazing resource. Amazing kid. So I encourage you to check this out. This is from our friends over at UNCTV. Any questions so far, friends? Okay, and I do want to let you know, so KLRN, as much as we do virtually and we have resources available through PBS Learning Media, there's a lot that we have to offer. And so I do want to mention that we've got events coming up, not necessarily during the rest of this. Absolutely, of course. I would love that. I think my LinkedIn profile is available on the profile page. But if not, please feel free to let me know. My email is rsalinas@klrn.org. You can certainly reach me there as well. Absolutely. We've got so many different events that are coming up in the spring semester. So those are going to be taking place right here in San Antonio, as well as in Uvalde. We're partnered with the library there. So we'll be there over spring break. So if you have any questions, thank you. I'd be so glad to connect with y'all, and we hope that you would join us for our events. We actually have a STEM event coming up. Time not determined just yet, but we're hoping that it'll be the end of toward the end of February. We haven't quite decided on that yet, so it might be in May. Not sure, but it's pretty awesome, and we would love for you to be part of it. Okay, so here's an awesome resource called Unladylike 2020. This is awesome. These videos are just a little bit longer, and they're geared toward our older kiddos. For the most part, some of the videos are geared for 6th through 12th grade. However, I would say most of them are geared toward 9th through 12th. I say that and now all of them are showing up as 6th through 12th, so that's awesome. Here are the collection and the topics that are addressed in, Unladylike. There's activism and politics, anti-lynching movement, Jim Crow and race relations, athletics, Chinese Exclusion Act, Great Migration, immigration in the progressive era, Indigenous women, industrialization, the labor movement and workers' rights, journalists, struggle for civil rights, suffrage, women in the arts, women in STEM, interactive lessons, and professional development webinars. So in the interest of time, I do want to respect your time. I believe that we are going to be, logging out around, around 1:45. So I want to respect your time with that. But these are some awesome resources. I'd highly encourage you to check out as many of the videos as you can. The origin of everything. Why are there so few women in computer science? This is a great resource as well. And it kind of gets us to think outside the box. And it does address the fact that the field of computer science is often dominated by men, but women have a long and important history in the field. And discussing how, initially when women came into the computer science field, they were not seen as having equal value in what they brought to the profession. And it's upsetting to know, but it's the way it was, and it's where we're trying to make improvements, right? And try to make things more equitable. So it really brings up a lot of good points, gets us to have discussion questions, post-viewing questions. I like these too, because even though these are fairly straightforward, not a really complex questions to ask, it does solicit responses that require a lot of thought and reflection, right? What is your opinion of the topic discussed in the video? And one of the things that you'll notice with these PBS Learning Media resources, is that there are so many opportunities for having kind of a longer response, a more in-depth response. Okay, friends, I'm gonna head on back over to the slides. Here's American Masters, Hedy Lamarr. This is really fascinating as well. This one's a shorter video. So with all of that in mind, I know we're about to wrap up here. I want to let you know, please stay in touch with me. You can sign up for the email list, receive newsletters, and keep up to date with all of the great events happening. Please also feel free to reach out to me at rsalinas@klrn.org, or you can reach out to anybody on our team. We're a mighty team of several educators. That's education@klrn.org. Here are some more helpful links on requested topics. If I were to go through all of them, we'd be here all day because they're all really cool. And I want to thank FirstMark for sponsoring the training. I want to thank you for being here. I'm going to go ahead and include the link to the post survey. If you would be so kind as to complete this for me. I'm going to put this in the chat. Oh, thanks, friends. You're the best. Right here is the post survey. So if you can go ahead and click on this link that is just about ready to be in the post survey, that will help me to be able to stay in touch with you and to learn, what are some things that you'd like to learn, maybe what are some areas that that you'd like to see more of, or some areas that I didn't address today that you would like to learn more about, or any questions or ideas. So thank you very much for the honor of allowing me to speak with you today and get to know a little bit more about you, and I hope to keep in touch with you. Please do go ahead and click on that post survey link, and I'd love to keep in touch with you. So have a wonderful day. Bye, friends. Thank you. I'm gonna stop sharing now. All right, awesome. And if you could please go ahead and let me know if, here we go. Sorry, if you have any questions, please do feel free to reach out to me, and I am so glad to have had the opportunity to meet you today. Have a wonderful day, friends. I'll see you back in the gallery in a little bit. Bye.